Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Speed Champions Audi S1 e-tron Quattro as driven by Ken Block, RIP. I paid $27 US for this and it comes with 274 pieces. It does come with one minifigure. We'll be looking at that later. As usual, I'm going to focus on the main thing you're paying for here first, the actual car. Now I have trouble with this one because I do like the Audi S1 design, although this is a very new car, it's a very retro inspired one in real life. And I also like rallying in general, and I like the color scheme of this. So I have to really fight against a bunch of biases of my own on this. I'm going to do my best. Proportions of this are not absolutely perfect. Might be just a little bit elongated, especially in the front third of it compared to the actual thing, but otherwise, I'd say this is a very strong effort as something made from Lego parts. As usual for Speed Champ, I'm gonna do this. Normally, I don't get to these until later in the video. Yeah, as usual, Speed Champions sets, especially ones with racing liveries and things like that, promotional liveries and such, will give you tons and tons of stickers always. But this set in particular here actually gives you quite a large number of prints as well, such as this, those down there, these corners. There's a lot more. I mean, these here, back here, that, these little corner 1x1s, probably missing something here as well. Yes, a bunch of stickers, but a bunch of prints, and I was really impressed by that. Obviously, this big one right here, I was impressed by the number of prints. I was also satisfied. Oh, these little corner bits right here, they're also printed there. Satisfied with the build. Wasn't completely blown away by it because, well, the standards have already been set. The bar's been set so high with these 8-wide Speed Champions that it's difficult for them to continually one-up themselves when they've already done work that's so daggone good. Thankfully, the print for the windscreen works. The geometric styling of the delivery of the design for this really helps the stickers to not look as bad as they could. Back here, for example, you got 3 stickers applied to just one part, but the little gaps in there at least don't bug me as much as they usually would. The red color, specifically the reflective flakes and metallic style flakes in the red of the stickers does bother me because that does not match the look. Here you see the gray is also off. The lighter gray is off. The darker gray isn't as bad. The lighter gray, well, no, it kind of is. Some of the grays are worse in this lighting than I thought, or than I saw previously. But the red is off. So yeah, there's some issues here. There are definitely some issues here, but the build was excellent. Just not completely life-changing like some of them are. Most of the interesting stuff on this for me is around the back, and especially what they've done here with the snowboard for the lower element of the wing. That one surprised me, and I don't know if that would have been considered a legal technique not too long ago, because that board is actually just connected strictly to those bracket pieces. So the studs of the board the gray snowboard are only going through half the thickness of a plate. However, there's an interesting thing that was done here with the ingot down below. The ingot actually has a couple of divots in it, a couple of little indents that may be allowing the Lego logos on the top of the studs for the snowboard to fit down just a little bit more. So it may be a full half of a plate rather than less than half of a plate if this had been a tile underneath there. Interesting little thing. Fortunately, it doesn't fall out or anything, so it's not a problem in practice. It was kind of suspect to me. I really like how the vertical elements of the diffuser are done here. All that is properly built in. No specialized piece is used for that. It does use stickers over here, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I like this angle right here with these pieces. Well, I mean, these pieces have been with us for quite some time. They feel relatively new to me, but no, we've had them for a while. New in this season, I believe, at least I haven't seen them previously, are the 1x2 corner notched tiles. So that's a tile this time, right? It's not the same as one of these. These were heavily introduced in Speed Champions long ago. think this one probably needs to be angled up just a little bit more than that. But here we get the tiles. Got those in a couple colors in this one. And there's also a bracket piece. I believe it was this one right here. It's 6 studs wide, and it only has 2 attachment points. So it's got, this is part of the bracket, and this is part of the bracket down here. It's a 2x6 on the side, 1x6 on the base. These are its anti-studs. Really strange piece that allows a lot of room in between for things to attach, but my gosh, they just keep coming up with more and more different pieces. Hopefully that one's going to be really useful. Definitely the tiles will be very useful for a lot of things in the future. I like looking at this from many different angles. Oh yeah, notice the red wheels in there. Of course, the super specialized 4-wide chassis piece is still being used here. Not to the greatest effect this time. They didn't need it to go. They didn't need it for the optimal, the full possible amount of reduction of ground clearance there. You still have the studs here from the brackets sticking down just a little bit, which honestly doesn't bother me. I think they would be scraping if you put tiles underneath that. Opening up, first of all, got that single suggestion of a windshield wiper right there. I like the metallic bits of printing on this. Opening it up, pretty well detailed interior. Side view mirrors are done pretty nicely. Got the full compartment for 2 people to be able to sit in there. The tall handbrake, rally style handbrake, the center display there. And I got the bolsters, that kind of futuristic style to it. This was done just perfectly fine. I mean, I really couldn't ask for much more for the interior. A little bit more detail. How? At this scale, it would have been difficult without just loading it up with more stickers. But this really looks good from so many angles to me. Again, the proportions are not perfect, but it's very appealing to me. I can see what it represents. I feel like it might be a slightly caricatured. If I'm being really critical, it looks a little bit caricatured to me, but in a respectful way. Not a way that makes it look worse. It might actually even look better than the real thing, if that's to be allowed. Some of these stickers, you just have to make a decision on where to exactly put them, because you can't just put them ones that have continual designs between them. You can't just put them end to end, because then you'll end up with a huge gap somewhere else. So I had to make some tough decisions. Maybe these could have been brought together, but then there would have been a larger gap here. Again, thanks to the highly geometric nature of the designs here, I feel like a lot of that just isn't as visible as it often is on these Speed Champions kits. But all in all, it's also pretty solid, surprisingly, for as many small pieces as it has. Yeah, it felt pretty premium relative to other things in the line. Here's a closer look at the driver minifigure, which looks pretty good to me. I think the production work on the suit looks good. Did not expect to get print on the hip there as well. I especially like the depth that's been portrayed here for the collar. I'll go ahead and take this off right now. That depth around the sides is nice, but I've talked about this off and on over the years. I wish that the Lego graphic design team would have more strict or just more consistent standards applied across their line. Do you put in depth like that, or do you not? Do you flatten out? Some members of the team use a wider minimum line width than others do. Some use the nice fine line, like you see over here, this vertical line on the right. I think that's the minimum that they will use in width. Just, a lot of, for me, I see these inconsistencies within a given year, and they look like inconsistencies that you would expect over the course of many years, looking at things that were done in different eras. Thankfully, this figure does come with a hairpiece, so that is good. I will always appreciate that when they do it, because it does not cost the company but a fraction of a penny, and it adds a lot of value for consumers. So yeah, they should definitely continue doing that, and I'm glad when they do. These are the leftover parts. Note the 2 printed pieces up at the top. Nice extra of this, and all of the 1x1 reds in that bag were exactly this, so that you don't have to worry about making sure you get the right ones. You do have to make sure, however, that you hide the printed side on ones that should not have it facing outward. And then I already showed you this. It's typical fare. Individual Speed Champions cars these days are $27 US, 27 euros, what, 21 pounds UK, $35 Canadian, I believe, which is, it's the highest it's ever been. This one here at least gives you a lot for that. There's a lot of connection that you get while building this, which feels good to me. The detailing process, some of the very small sub-assemblies, I really felt like I was able to really get into it. There's a value to that. There's a value to the build process. This one's relatively, I'd say, in the upper echelon across the line for those kinds of feelings. And generally, I just feel like there's a good amount of content here, the entire package. So out of everything that I've seen thus far in person, this is my first March 1, 2024 Speed Champions review, but from all the other ones up to this point, I feel like this one is worthy of having just a slightly higher price. I don't think I'll feel that across the board, but if they can all be like this, I think I can be okay with the new price. And I hate to say that, but it's how I feel. I think the more plain ones, I'm definitely going to have an issue with, because those prices have just relentlessly crept up right in front of our faces. But this, thankfully, is super well done. They really need to continue to improve their stickers. At least alignment on this one was okay, but there's still too much variation there. The prints on this were excellent all the way through. No complaints with that, including with the windscreen, even though it does have the gaps there. I'm okay with it. It's not entirely consistent, but it's pretty close. And I know that they minimized things down there, and I think the graphic design choices were mostly pretty solid. So overall, yeah, I'm very happy with this one. Took a lot for me to extract my personal feelings from it, my subjective feelings of just loving it, everything here. But in the end, I ended up satisfied on both sides of my brain. So thank you for watching. Hope this was of value to you, and I'll talk to you soon.